Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new around here, hello, welcome. My name is Charlotte. So in today's video we're going to be doing a book haul. I haven't actually decided what I'm going to be calling this one because this is an accumulation of the books that I have received and bought and whatever in the months of March and April. And March was my birthday month, so some of these books will be birthday gifts and others are just ones that I've bought for myself. So I don't really need to intro a book haul too much, so let's just dive straight in, talk about the books. Chronologically, seems simple enough. So the first book that I got in the month of March, I got through a gift card that I got for Christmas. I got a Waterstones gift card for Christmas from my aunt, so I pre-ordered this book with it and it arrived in March. And that is Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. Do I need to say much? No. Of course, I've already read it and I do have a reading vlog up for this book, so I'll link that in the description below for you to check out if you want to know my full thoughts. This is the second book in the Last Hours trilogy, which is one of the many series and trilogies within the Shadowhunter world. I don't really feel like I can and should or need to go into too much explanation about what this book is about, but it is centered around the kids of the characters from the Infernal Devices. I loved this book. It was a 5 out of 5 stars. I didn't love Chain of Gold as much as I loved all the other Shadowhunter books. I just thought that with all the characters it was trying to introduce and trying to present to us, it was quite hard to follow. I still did enjoy it, but it just wasn't like the top tier of the Shadowhunter books. But Chain of Iron restored that. Chain of Iron was so good. I think because I really engaged with it and I read it in like 4 days and just straight read it, that's probably why I liked it a bit more. But it was just so good, and the characters and the relationships and the plot, it was all just amazing. But if you want to see my full thoughts on this book, link in the description below for the reading vlog. So the next 4 books I'm going to haul are books that some of my friends on BookTube got for me for my birthday. So all the people I'm about to mention, thank you so much. I will link their channels in the description below. They're all just amazing people and I love them so much. So the first 2 books was from someone very special, and that's Connor over on Connor Stompanato, and the first book that he got me was House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This is Sarah J. Maas's first book outside of the ACOTAR series and the Throne of Glass. I was about to say Tower of Dawn, that's one of the books in the series. It's a behemoth of a book. I knew it was a behemoth of the book, but it's a behemoth of a book. This is obviously the paperback edition and it's very simple. I think I do like the American hardcover a bit more, but I also just love the simplicity of this one. I don't know too much about this book, but I think it's like an urban fantasy. It might be new adult. Maybe not adult, not young adult, but it might be new adult. And it says it's got angels, shifters, humans and fae all merged within this kind of city and within these nightclubs. And then a demon murders her closest friends. And then maybe she's trying to investigate who killed her closest friends. The main reason why I want to read this is because it's Sarah J. Maas, and I feel like even though she's overhyped, I still enjoy her work, even though I didn't really like Throne of Glass. But also the whole urban fantasy concept interests me because I do love urban fantasy. And it's just a big book, and sometimes I feel like I should read big books. Look, I don't really have much justification. I just want to read it because it sounds interesting. Thank you, Connor, for getting me this. It is a chunker. It will probably take me a long while to read, but I'm excited to dive into it once I do. And the other book that Connor got for me for my birthday is Good Omens by Neil Patrick Harris. Not Neil Patrick Harris. It's because I had both the authors' names in my head, so I had Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett in my head. So I nearly said Neil Pratchett, but then it just came out as Neil Patrick Harris. I am butchering the easiest author names ever. Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. I have had this on my wish list for a while, ever since I watched the TV show. You might know, you might not, but I am a David Tennant stan. I have been since I was like 6 years old. It's been a long time in the making, but I love him a lot. So when this TV show was announced, of course I was going to watch it, and I loved it. And it's also got Michael Sheen in it, who I've come to love so much recently, both through this, through Staged and through Prodigal Son. They're both just such amazing actors and amazing humans, and I love them so much. And the TV show, as I said, was really, really good. I definitely want to rewatch it, but I think I might rewatch it after I've read the book. I've heard amazing things about the book, and Neil Gaiman is a stellar human being. Terry Pratchett, I think, is no longer with us, but how Neil Gaiman talks about this book and how he's still like biggest fan of his own book. And so when people say that the relationship between Aziraphale and Crowley, I say Crowley even though it's Crowley because supernatural, but the relationship between the two of them is not gay and it's just friendships. Neil Gaiman's like, it's gay. If you don't know what this book is about, it follows an angel called Aziraphale and a demon called Crowley. They have known each other since the dawn of time, and they've kind of been frenemies since the dawn of time. And when they realise that this kid has been born and that the world is going to end, they've obviously experienced loads of people saying that the world is going to end. But when they know and have found out that the world is going to end, they have to team up to stop it. And it's so gay. It is just this angel and this demon who have traversed eternity together, just being gay. and it's amazing. And as I said, I love the TV show, so I'm very excited to read the book. And the next book that I got from my friends for my birthday was from Andrew over on Andrew Reads. We love Andrew. Once again, we'll link her channel in the description below. And she got me Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I read The Poet X or Poet Z by Elizabeth Acevedo a couple of months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, and I really did enjoy it. Even though it was written in verse, and books written in verse aren't really my jam, I still did really enjoy it. I wanted to read the rest of Elizabeth Acevedo's books, so Andrew got this one for me for my birthday, and this is the one that I think I'm the most excited about out of the other 2 that she's written, because it's got the most interesting and most enticing concept. So this follows our 2 characters, Camino and Yahara, and they're just 2 separate girls who do not know each other. One lives in the Dominican Republic and one lives in New York. When this plane crash happens, they are brought together by this one man who turns out to be their father. Through their father dying on this plane crash, they realise that they are half sisters, and that just sounds amazing. It sounds so enticing and so interesting and so intriguing and so emotional, and I cannot wait to dive in, and I've heard amazing things about it. And now that I'm used to Elizabeth Acevedo's verse writing, I feel like I would like this a bit more, or would get into this a bit more easier. If you want to read her book that's written in prose, The Fire on High, because as it's written in prose, I will probably like it just as much, probably more, because it's written in prose. But the topics that Elizabeth Acevedo talks about and writes about are just so great, and I just like her as a writer, and I'm excited to dive into more of her work. So the final book that I got from one of my friends for my birthday was from Mafalda, who I think we should know by now. I love. Mafalda is just one of the nicest and sweetest and just so entertaining humans. I love her so much. And she got me The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I am probably one of the very few people on BookTube who've never read an Erin Morgenstern book. Both The Starless Sea and The Night Circus have been on my radar and have been on my wish list and on my TBR for yonks now. I have heard mixed things. I have heard it's either you love it or you hate it sort of book. But once again, it's one of those things that the concept sounds really, really good. So it follows our main character, Zachary Rawlings, and he stumbles upon this mysterious library book within a library, and he realises that this book is about his life and is written about his life. And I don't know anything else, but I don't want to know anything else. I think it's about him possibly having to save something and having to save a library or this labyrinth or something like that. And just the idea of finding a book that's written about your life, kind of like the Truman Show sort of thing, just sounds really, really good. And with it kind of being set in a more fantastical, whimsical sort of style, I want to consume this. I want to see if I love it or if I hate it. I also love the cover. It's just so nice with the foil bee wasp. I remember when this book came out seeing the Waterstones special edition of it when I went into Waterstones at uni, and just being like, I want to buy you, but I don't have the money. I don't need you. And the next book that I want to talk about is the second book in a trilogy that I'm currently reading or need to finish, and that is God's Grave by J. Kristoff, which is the second book in the Nevernight trilogy. I enjoyed Nevernight. I don't think I loved it as much as a lot of people do, but I did enjoy it, and it did take me a while to get into it. It takes you like 50 to 100 pages to really get with the writing style and to really get in within the world. But once you do, it's a fun ride. I can't deny that. So I obviously want to continue on with this series. I know that there are controversies and that J. Kristoff has said some very not good stuff recently, so I'm not excusing what he said and justifying me buying this, but I did buy it before he kicked off a bit earlier. I do want to read this whole series just because I've started it and now I kind of want to finish it. Obviously if I read God's Grave and I'm like, I don't really feel like I need to read Dark Dawn, I won't. But if I do, I might try and source Dark Dawn secondhand. Hi, it's Editing Charlotte here, nearly a month later, because I just haven't had the time for BookTube at the moment. But I'm just popping in to say spoilers for my May wrap up, but I DNF'd God's Grave. So I will be getting rid of it. I might keep Nevernight. I think I will keep Nevernight, but I just don't feel the need to keep God's Grave. I DNF'd it, and I kind of see Nevernight as a standalone. After this series, I don't think I will read any of J. Kristoff's books. This series follows our main character, Mia Corvette, and she wants to go to this school to become a trained assassin so she can kill the people and assassinate the people that killed her family. This is a very hyped series on BookTube, and it's one that I've been wanting to read for a while. And I did enjoy the first one, so I will read this one, see what I think about it, see if I want to continue the series. So the next book that I bought in Tesco because I saw it and thought, probably not going to get this cheaper anywhere else, so I'll get it here. And it's one that I've been wanting to read for a long time because it's by an author that I absolutely love, and that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It's smaller than I ever thought it was going to be because I saw the hardcover and I was like, okay, it's going to be like an average size book. But it's quite small. I think Matt Haig's books are quite small, and I feel that, you know, I don't want to be there writing and reading a book for too long. I love Matt Haig. I haven't read any of his fiction work, but his non-fiction work is my life, and I just love that man so much, as probably a lot of you know. This book is about our main character, Nora, and she deals with a lot of mental health problems. And one day when she attempts to take her own life, she's transported to this library, to the Midnight Library, where she's given the chance to undo some of the regrets and some of the choices that she made in life that she doesn't like. And I take it this book follows that kind of storyline of, if you were able to do that sort of stuff, would you? And allowing you to review your life, and even if you might hate your life in the moment, allowing you to review it and go, actually, I wouldn't want to change that, because then I wouldn't have done that and I wouldn't have become the person I am today. And obviously this book, alongside a lot of Matt Haig's books, it has big trigger warnings for suicide and depression and anxiety. But I just want to read anything Matt Haig writes, and this just sounds really, really interesting, because there are so many times in your life when you look back on decisions you make and go, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. I wish I never did that. But then you've got to think that if I did make that decision, what would have happened instead? Would I have become the person I am today? Would I be doing the stuff that I'm doing today? Even if you might not like the stuff that you're doing today or like the person you are today, every little thing you do shapes you and shapes your future. You do not know what would have happened if you didn't make those decisions. The next and final book that I'm going to be talking about in this haul is Rule of Wolves. The dust jacket is over there, but I'm currently reading it, so I don't have it on. This is the second book in the Nikolai duology, the final book in the Nikolai duology, which is set in the Grishaverse. Not really going to go into depth about what it's about because it will just spoil the whole of the Grishaverse. I feel like I'm a broken record because I just filmed my April wrap-up where I kind of talked about this book before, but I really liked King of Scars, which was the first book in the series. Unlike some people who didn't really like it was kind of like a mixed opinion sort of book. I'm just loving this book so much and it's so good and I cannot wait to finish it. I don't think this is the last book in the Grishaverse because there is the possibility that Leigh Bardugo might be writing another Six of Crows book. But if this is the last book in the Grishaverse, I'm gonna cry. But I just love this universe so much, which has obviously been heightened by the TV show. But I don't have too much to say about this book apart from that I bought it, it looks beautiful, she's thick, I'm enjoying it, and we stand Leigh Bardugo in the Grishaverse. So that is it for this book haul. There was about 8 books, I think, that I hauled, which is not too bad, pretty average for me, pretty normal for me across 2 months. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them, and what some of the books that you've hauled recently. I've just taken one of my very rare days off to film. If you are new around here, do not forget to subscribe, turn my notification bell on so you know I'm next going to post. All my social media links are linked in the description below, and with that all said and done, I'll see you all in my next video.